right, I think we're live, and it looks like we have good audio. Hello, everybody. A change of scenery this time. The weather is nice for a change, so I thought I would just go outside and enjoy the outdoors for a little while. It's been a long time since we've done this. So I'm out here. I have a cigar. I have the cat. The cat is out here with me. He's on a leash, so he can't wander off. I have no privacy out here, so I'm trying not to disturb my neighbors, so I'm kind of up close to the microphone this time. Yeah, see, Hannibal. I love it when a plan comes together. So who do we got here? Hello, Beta Ray Bob. Comic Tropes. Thank you for being here, Comic Tropes. I do have something to say about Comic Tropes here in a moment. Hello, Michael Jean Fleming, and hey, Marianne is here. Nice. Thank you for being here, Marianne. It was nice to see you earlier today. Hello, Matt Noon. My name is Brian 7 p.m. Nice to see you. Hello, Matt Rubin. So I see we've got the Matts here. The Matts are with us again. Hi, Barry Campbell, and the Figure Six Pack, and Jeffrey, and WWJD85, and Ronald, and the Figure Six Pack, and Andrew, the guy so nice they named him twice. Yeah, that is true. She's actually not been here while I'm, and she got me this really nice ashtray. She got me this really nice ashtray, which I've only been able to use for a short time because until recently the weather was really crappy. So now the weather is actually better. Hello, Sergeant Slaughterhouse. Hello, Australia. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Hello, Daniel, WWJD85, and McClugtirg, and J Dioramas. What's up? What's up with you? Yeah, so quite a day, quite a week, quite a day. I am. This is a Baccarat. It is not a very expensive cigar, but it's reliable, and that's what I'm going for right now. It's moderately priced and reliable, and that's my speed at the moment. Let me. I forgot to post in the social medias that I'm going live here. Let's do that. And then close those windows. Oh my gosh, I've really got to get to my backlog of messages. I have got to get to Cobra Convergence stuff. Hey, Sparkster, nice to see you. Hello, Christian Bricks. Hello from Denmark. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for being here. It's really nice to see you. Yeah, that's the new catchphrase for Hannibal. It's good enough for the girls I go out with. Old Sandy. Hello, Man of Action. Hello, Lester. Hello, Milwaukee Allen. Milwaukee Allen from Phoenix, Arizona, right? Hello, Wilkinson Studios. Was Roadblock on steroids? You know, not everybody who's big is on steroids. Sometimes it's just genetics, you know. It's that genetic lottery that not all of us win. Man of Action says you going to Joe Fest. Yeah, I'm going to Joe Fest. In fact, I'm going with Marianne. The plan is for us to go together. And I'm actually really excited about that. I am itching to go on a road trip. I want to travel. I haven't been able to do... Well, I've done some travel. Yeah, Marianne is tagging along, but she's doing more than tagging along. She is a travel partner. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you. Hey, Rob Vegas. Yes, the entire country of Australia is with us. Milwaukee from Tucson. That's it. See, that I was close. So what was I going to say? Yes. Hello, Armor Magnus. Hello, Sean. What was I doing? Joe Fest. I'm sorry, I got distracted. I'm trying to think and read at the same time, and I can't do both. Hello, Ray and Gray Fox and Peter Ong. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Yes, we have lots to talk about, including Beetlejuice playing G.I. Joe. We'll get to that. Oh, thank you for the super chat. What's on Joe Mine? Who said you could smoke in my living room? Well, that's a fair point. I am, in a way, in your living room. Look at me defying your house rules right here. That's just plain disrespectful. I don't think I would put up with that if I were you. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Joe Fest. I have been able to do a little bit of traveling, like short trips, but I haven't been able to take like a really long trip since November, I guess, since the trip to Assembly Required. So I'm really itching. I'm itching to get on the road. We have a lot to talk about. Including What's on Joe Mind, who thank you for the super chat. What's on Joe Mind? Beetle Joe, yes, see that. Beetle Joe, yes. We'll talk about Beetle Joe. But we have like, where's my? Oh yeah, my show notes. I have show notes. If you'd like to know what's going to be on the show, just read that really fast. So there's news. There's stuff. Call the DEF. Yeah, and who knows what's in here, you know. It could be the PVC. It could be angel food cake. I don't know from drug names. I don't know, but there could be something in there. DEF may need to raid the place and take me into custody, trap me in a tiny net. Yes, Marianne is correct. We talked about this earlier. I have 3 points to make. But before I make those 3 points, I would like to remind everybody, today is Tuesday. That means there is a new episode of Half the Battle from Timmer. He did a review of the G.I. Joe Special Missions comic book number 7. Also, What's on Joe Mind, live after this show. The link for both of those is in the description of this video. You don't even have to go look for them. You don't even have to go search for them. You just go to the link and visit them right after we're done. Hello, the Trek Reviewer. Hello, Guy Franzi. Nice to see you. Not Cuban. This is Honduran. But Cuban cigars are a little hard to come by in this general vicinity. But also, like, I'm being economical here. I'm being economical. Hello, Chad Farr, the younger brother of Jamie Farr, I'm sure. And Nyquist and anybody else that snuck in here. Hello, John Ulrich. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. What's on Joe Mind? There is another link, though. There is another link in the description of this video. Comic Tropes special cover of Vampirella is in its last day on Indiegogo. There's a link to that. This is your last chance to get it. I already had I'd already ordered one, but I ordered another one, a different one, because last time I ordered it, I did not also get the robot plush doll. And I wanted the robot plush doll. So I went back, I ordered another one, and I also ordered the robot plush doll down to 7 hours. 7 hours for the Comic Tropes cover of Vampirella. And so if you have a chance, and if you are so inclined, do check that out. The link is in the description here. So, again, you don't have to go search for it. The link is right there. So here's what you do. As soon as this show is over, you go to go to What's on Joe Mind, because that starts immediately after. But also open another tab in your browser, and while What's on Joe Mind is getting started up, you go order your Vampirella cover from Comic Tropes, and then at the end of What's on Joe Mind, because that's live, you know, it's live, so you gotta wait till the end. But then you go and watch Timmer's new video, and then you've seen everything. So I wanted to remind everybody of that. I also wanted to commend our friends at G.I. Joburg. They have a new video up with some modifications to their USS Flag undercarriage. I'm sorry, I'm having a cigar, but the cigar is not making me cough. It's the water. I'm fine with the cigar, and I'm choking on the water. So yes, I thank you, WWJD. He's already ahead of the game, having already watched Timmer's video. Sam asks where and when is Joe Fest. Joe Fest is in early June, and it is in Augusta, Georgia. What were the dates? It was like the 6th through the 11th. Why can't I remember that? I can't remember anything. Look, we're gonna get. I've obviously got the old timers disease, but it's. Hold on. Let me get to the exact information on this. Why am I? By the time I look it up, somebody will already have posted it. 9th through the 11th. June 9th through the 11th. 6. It doesn't go that long. June 9th through the 11th. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. See, this is why I don't need to look up anything. You guys are quicker with it than I am. So, what else was I saying? Joe Fest, G.I. Joburg, really cool new video. Professor Grandpa, yes. Actually, these are relatively new glasses. My older ones broke because they were cheap, but these are also cheap. But they're sturdier, you know. They're thicker frames. So yes, Professor Grandpa has a few things to say. We've got a lot to talk about. So I've got 3 news items. Before we get to that, I did have the new video up this week. If anybody wanted to discuss that, you're welcome to. I have a concern that I was a little too cavalier with the subject matter, but I was still trying to keep it light and have fun with it, and I did have fun with it. No apologies there. I had a lot of fun with it, and Marianne again assisted with the opening sketch with the he's right here with this guy. With this dude right here. This is what I need to help the algorithms. Hey, it's Cujo. Nice to see you, Cujo. Always nice to see Cujo. Careful. Don't unplug. Don't unplug the laptop. That would be a problem. That's not too cool. You're sitting on the cord. There you go, buddy. There you go. Now you're fine. Okay. But anyway, what was I saying? Yes. So, the review, Mutt and Junkyard. John says disappointed the network didn't work. I really thought it would work. I really did. That's why I wanted to give it a few tries, and I think the idea makes sense, right? The idea makes sense. Hello, Nestor. Nice to see you. The idea makes sense. Yes, Alistair there at the start of the video. He was very cooperative, more so than usual. He was not used to being outdoors and in a park, but we're getting used to that. How do you spell Alistair and Mary Ann? Alistair, think Alistair Crowley, and Mary Ann, you did spell that correctly. Capital M, capital A. She has twice as many capital letters in her name, in her first name, than most people do, which I think is a little unfair. I think that's more capital letters than one person should have. In fact, twice as many capital letters as one person should be entitled to. So, I mean, we've talked about this. But yes, you spelled that correctly. You spelled that correctly. Well, I had a lot of fun doing that video. I really did enjoy it. I think the net may have worked if it had been further back. Looked like the net didn't spread enough. Matt, maybe. Yes, thank you for giving me the extra capital letter. He doesn't appreciate my singing, Chris. I thought maybe that it would help to move it further back, but at least on my example, in fact, both of my examples that I have, the spring is really weak. So if I move it too far back, then the spring power doesn't go far enough to net the guy. So it's kind of a catch-22. Now, maybe if there's one with a stronger net, that it would go farther and it would actually spread out and catch the guy the way it's supposed to. But I mean, I had to work with what I had, and I had two examples of that particular accessory. Both of them had really weak springs. So so if you get closer, if you get close enough to reach the guy, then you hit him with the missiles, and that's not non-lethal. That is in fact lethal. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Hello, hey, Dr. No Good. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Who else do you think will be? That's a good point. Now, we haven't gotten to the movie yet, and I am going to get to the movie. I definitely want to get to the movie. Race had to send his second set of Hasbro Sky Striker figures back again. That is disappointing. I'm sorry. And you know what? I gotta talk about Hasbro later, though. I got things to talk about. Hello, JLS Comics. Thank you for being here. It's really cool to see you. Cool to see you. JLS Comics, really good channel. Cobra Convergence collaborator. Really need to get working on Cobra Convergence 7. I'm working on that. Hey, Jump in General. Nice to see Jump in General. Hello, Gussie. Hello, Gussie. Let's see. How did you make the cat move with the harness on? My cats won't move at all when I... So, yeah, he doesn't like to walk on the leash with the harness. So what I had to do was, set him down and then work around him. I had to move him a bit. But yeah, he's like he was not really into the whole walking outside with the harness thing. He didn't quite dig that too much. But once we found the spot with the background, then I could like the whole point of the clip is that he doesn't move. So what are saying? Oh, I have to light this again. So, but before we talk about Mr. Mom playing a G.I. Joe or a Cobra, before we talk about that, the first news item is Hasbro is going back to window packaging for certain figures, including G.I. Joe Classified. Great. I'm happy about that. So the windowless packaging was always a mixed bag for me, because, like, if the art is really good, then it's great to have more artwork. That's awesome. That's fantastic. If the art isn't so good, then then I don't want more artwork. But there's also the practical issue. The practical issue that people were running into situations where a figure was purchased at retail. Whoever purchased it took the figure out and put something else in, and then returned it to get a refund. So essentially, they get a free figure. Hey, Bad Ape, it's a Baccarat. It's an inexpensive, middle of the road cigar, reliable. That's what I'm into right now, is reliable. Well, but yeah, so there are practical problems with not having windows in the packaging for certain types of figures. Right, exactly. That's Chris. Comic Tropes points out exactly the issue that people were having with them, and that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem. I think it's a problem for mint in box collectors, because unless you open the thing, you can't know if somebody has tampered with it before you got it. So yeah, I think ultimately that will be better. I wasn't as worked up about the windowless packaging as some folks were, but there were definitely problems with it, and this will help. This is better. I think this is a good choice. This is a good choice, and I think in the long run it will be better. Reviews where the figure came broken. See, if you can see the figure in the window, then you can see if there are any flaws, any damage, or just like somebody's swapped out a different figure, and that's a little. I mean, you can't know until you open the thing. So I'm in support of that. They're gonna use some bio and recycled plastic. Basically, they're trying to reduce plastic, which is fine. That's actually a good thing. I mean, if you think about how much plastic, the toys themselves are plastic. But then when you add the packaging on top of that and multiply by millions, then that's a lot of plastic. So obviously they're not going to, they have to make the toys out of plastic, but the packaging, if they can reduce the plastic in the packaging, that's a good thing. But the way that it was gone about was causing problems. It was becoming an issue with people. So that is filled with salt shakers instead of figures and accessories. Well, were they nice salt shakers? Maybe that's something you should be grateful about. Hey, yay, I needed salt shakers. So that's item 1 on my list. Item 2 is Paramount, I guess, Hasbro has renewed their license with Paramount, and there is at least a rumor of a reboot of G.I. Joe, and in some way or another, Michael Keaton's name was attached to it. There is a helicopter flying over, so hopefully you can still hear me. So Michael Keaton, I have no idea if this is true. I don't have any idea if this pans out. If they're talking about a reboot, they've got to be pretty early in the process. So by the time it gets down the road, if it gets down the road, will Michael Keaton still be involved in it? It's really hard to say. I know that having an established actor thank you, Comic Tropes. Windowless packaging worked like a bag on Lieutenant Falcon's head, and we should be thankful. See, always looking on the bright side. That the eternal optimist. That's great. Well done. Well done. Hello, Raisiner. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. So let's just guess. Let's play. Okay, maybe a new movie comes out. Maybe it's a reboot, and maybe Michael Keaton is playing something. Now, somebody suggested that he play a bat, and that was funny. That's a really good idea. He would be the Batman android trooper, so that's fantastic. But if he doesn't play a bat, then who should he play? I know that Cobra Commander has been suggested. He would be a good Cobra Commander. But of course, Cobra Commander usually has his face concealed, and they're not going to pay Michael Keaton for a movie to have his face covered the whole time. Hey, Diana Davis. Nice to see you, Diana Davis. Very nice to see you. Thank you for being here. So, I think maybe the more obvious choices would be Hawk or Joe Colton, which was Bruce Willis's role in Retaliation, and I think he would be fine at any of those. He would be fine, and he's a good actor. You would be doing pretty well to have him attached to your project. That would be not bad. He is fairly advanced in age. So if he played Hawk, he'd be a pretty old Hawk. So that's why like a Joe Colton or something like that would make sense. General Flag, see that General Flag, that could also work. But something along those lines, I think, could work for Michael Keaton. Now this is way early. We are I don't even. It's so early. I'm not even sure you could call it speculation. Raptor. See, Daniel has the idea. Michael Keaton as the Birdman, as Raptor. That's perfect. Mr. Globulus. Admiral Ledger. See, these are good ideas. These are really good ideas. I would imagine that if his name is attached to it, then it's more than a cameo. So whatever character he plays, I think it's got to be significant. So here's my next question. Do you think it will be a hard reboot? Or do you think they will try to link it in any way to the Snake Eyes movie? Yeah, I know. The Snake Eyes movie, whether you liked it or not, the fact is that it did not make money. It was a box office disaster. But do they try to salvage it? They still spent money on it. They still made it. Do they try to salvage it by linking a G.I. Joe movie in some way, in any way, to that? Scarlett's dad, Brandon Fraser was... Yes, Brandon Fraser was and Brandon Fraser is having himself a little bit of a renaissance now, huh? So, it's interesting to speculate about. I have no idea if by the time they actually get to a movie, if Michael Keaton will still be attached to it anyway. It's way early. It's super early to think about any of that. Hello, Impossible Pie. Why are they bonding with a G.I. Joe movie? I think that's a fair question. They want to do something with the brand to to bring it back into the mainstream. I think that's what the Snake Eyes movie was supposed to do, but it did not do that. I think for their longer term goals, they really want G.I. Joe to be like a more, recognized property. Hey, it's Mr. 1013. Nice to see you. Yes, get it right. That's the issue. That's the issue. Get it right. That's the problem. That's the difficulty. Because there have been 4 G.I. Joe movies now. If you count the 87 movie, and then Rise of Cobra, Retaliation, and now Snake Eyes. And I'm really not sure what to think. As far as, like, how I feel about how it will play out, if it will be good, if we will like it, here's my thing. Here's my thing. And Diana says it's not easy to get it right, and that I think there's a reason why it's not easy to get it right. But I was cautiously optimistic about Snake Eyes. I really wanted to love the movie, and I wanted the movie to be a success, and so I was cautiously optimistic. That movie ended up disappointing, so I have a hard time continuing to be cautiously optimistic. So I guess I'll switch, and I'll be cautiously pessimistic, if that is a thing. But one of the reasons I think that it is difficult to get a G.I. Joe movie in one format, one entity, one project, is because G.I. Joe has had a lot of different facets, and I mean, during its 80s and 90s run, it had 2 separate identities that people associate with it, and one being the comic book storyline, and the other being the animated series storyline, and they were not the same. They had different tones, different ideas, emphasis on different characters, and people have strong preferences for one or the other. That's really difficult, I think, to distill into a single movie. G.I. Joe had had Tatum and The Rock, and somehow couldn't make it a big hit. It was profitable, at least. At least it was profitable. It wasn't what I think they were all hoping for, but it was at least profitable. Since again can't get a live action, why not just do another animated movie? I would be less enthusiastic about an animated movie. Animation, unless it's something along the lines of like a Pixar something, then it tends to be niche. And I don't think that's what they're going for. They really want to get a broader audience, which is, I want them to get a broader audience. One of the consequences of Snake Eyes not succeeding, apparently, was the cancellation of the other projects that they had in the works, or at least putting them on hold. So there was talk about animation. There was talk about a Lady J show. Other things that might have worked, I don't know, might have worked. But the thing is, because the first effort was not successful, we don't get any of the other ones. That's the consequence of failure. The consequence of failure is that they don't just keep throwing money at it to give you different things, so that there might be one that you like. So if you want an animated anything, then something's got to succeed. Something's got to kickstart that. Something's got to get it going. So wasn't Snake Eyes. So will it be this whatever it is? If whatever it is. With or without Michael Keaton, I don't know. But now I'm cautiously pessimistic. We will see. I will give it a chance. Of course, I'll give it a chance. I'm a G.I. Joe fan. I will always give it a chance. But I'll have to see it. I really will just have to see it. I don't know. Cautiously, pessimistic. That's my new mode. Now, how are we doing? We got 30 minutes. I have one more topic. It came up today. So, our friends who do After Action Report, they have this Command Files Kickstarter project that they've been doing. As of today, this morning, I think, they got a copyright claim against them from a law firm that represents Hasbro. And they're not able to say anything about it right now. There's nothing to say right now. They're still sorting out what's going on and what they can do about it. And this bothers me a bit. I don't like this move. And I'll tell you why. And I've got to preface this, okay? First of all, I'm no law scientist, okay? And even if I was, I don't represent the people in After Action Report or the Command Files. I'm not their lawyer. So I cannot give legal advice, and I am not. Oh, thank you, Rob Vegas. Schedule is free. He can star in the movie. It's fantastic. Paramount Pictures, contact Rob immediately. He's available to star in the movie. Marianne says, "Okay, Dr. Juris. All right. But but I'm not a big fan of this move. The as far as the copyright claim, what they posted about it, or I guess what they had indicated was the copyright claim, was sparse. They essentially listed the things that are copyrighted, which everybody already knows. That's nothing new. That's no new information. But that doesn't tell us like what their legal claim is, because just owning the copyright is not enough. Or at least it's not enough to overcome a defense of fair use. And that's what a lot of us use. Like, a lot of what I do depends on the fair use of intellectual property. And it's something like the After Action Report and Command Files that would rely on fair use of intellectual property. And fair use is important. It's not all encompassing. It doesn't protect every use of copyrighted material, but it's a very essential part of the copyright system. And the way to look at it is this, all right? Copyright law in the United States, not to say how it works everywhere, but in the United States, copyright law is a compromise between the right to own and do with as you please the things you create, versus the right of someone else to free speech and to free press. basically, like the First Amendment speech and press protections. It's a compromise between those, because those two interests can be opposing, right? Because I could create something. I could create. I could write a book, a brand new book. Nobody's ever created anything like this. It's my book, copyrighted to me. Okay? And I can decide, I've made this book, and I'm not going to let anybody talk about it. I'll put it out there in the public, but I don't want anybody talking about it. So, somebody comes along and they're like, well, I want to critique this book. Or someone in the news says, hey, the fact that this book has been published is newsworthy. And the news needs to report that this book exists and that it's out there and what it's about. And I say, aha, no, you can't talk about it. You can't discuss what's in the book. You can't use any quotes. You can't use the cover. You can't do it because I own it. Yes, you do own it, but the compromise is that for certain purposes, there are limited abilities to use copyrighted work so that the ownership of the intellectual property does not stifle the public's ability to speak about it, to talk about it, to even to show what you're talking about, because sometimes you have to show what you're talking about. One of the elements in fair use is essentially how much the amount and substantiality of the copyrighted material that was used. So you would not be able to like reprint my book or reprint somebody else's comic book, like just reprint the whole thing and say fair use. I put a comment there at the bottom. That's fair use. No, that doesn't work. You can't. In most cases, you can't use the entire work. For copyrighted purposes, or for fair use purposes. So there's a limit, and it's not a hard line, okay? It's not a hard line, because it really depends on what you're using and how you're using it, as to how much needs to be used in order for you to get the fair use out of it. And this is something that it concerns me. It should concern others. It should concern others, because we have other Joe fans publishing guides and things that are arguably less fair use than this one, than the command files. Carson from 3D Joe's published a whole series of books that was high quality recreations of the artwork, which was awesome. It's really cool. But that's like using the whole work, right? And without really much in the way of comment or criticism, it's reusing and republishing the whole piece of art. So is that going to be an issue now? One thing that there's a little bit of a misconception out there. There's this it's called the sweat of the brow. So you put work into it, and that is somehow a factor in, whether or not you should be able to sell it or whatever. That's not a thing. The sweat of the brow is not a factor. That is not an element. And if you write a book that is a criticism. If you report a news story and use a photograph or something that that you need for the report, if you're an educator and you need to use something for the purpose of teaching, then fair use covers that. But I mean, but you, if for example, what would be a good example? Well, like 3D Joe's or Carson has a project for the art of G.I. Joe coming up, that that I've purchased, that others have purchased. If he makes a profit on it, you can make a profit on these fair use, commentary, criticism, review, news reporting, education. You can make a profit doing that. You are allowed to. The part that you put into it is still yours. But one of the factors in fair use is I forget exactly how it's worded, but it's what kind of impact does it have on the in the market on the value of the work. But something like command files that's just going to have a positive impact on the copyrighted work, because this is generating interest that people have to go out and buy. There's some of these characters that are coming out in classified, as classified figures. This is background on those characters that, by the way, you cannot get. I mean, Hasbro they don't have file cards even anymore. They have symbols, they have icons. So the impact on the value of the work, I think, is arguably positive. But yeah, it worries me. It bothers me. I think this is not a good move. I wish they wouldn't do it. I think that I don't know what the argument is, what the thinking is of counsel who is doing these copyright claims on the behalf of Hasbro. I don't know. The thinking may just be that they claim everything because most people will not be able to fight it. Most people will not be able to afford to fight that claim. But there are some things that have been claimed that obviously are not fair use. Like if you were if you decided to just make, let's say if you just decided to what's a better example? I'm trying. Let's. No, that's not a good example either. I'm trying to think of a good example. I think Diana actually posted, or maybe it was somebody else, some of the other claims that they had filed, and somebody was making like My Little Pony pins. Well, My Little Pony is the property of Hasbro, and just like making a pin of it that would dilute their market. That is, you don't own that, and that's not really a fair use. There's no commentary, there's no criticism, there's no news reporting, there's no fair use purpose to that. So you can't do that. That it doesn't cover that, okay? But I mean, what about the stuff that I do? What about the stuff that Carson's doing? What about the other things that we are doing, that we have been doing for years, that it's just fan stuff. It's the kind of stuff that fans do. And if it were illegal, if it were a violation of intellectual property rights, then I would say no, you shouldn't be able to do that. But I don't think it is. So, I mean, this is something that I had thought about some time ago. JLS says the amount and substantiality of the portion used is a component of fair use that most frequent of the most frequent errors and can get you in trouble easily. Yeah, that is probably the one that a lot of people do run into. But there's not a hard, bright line on that. You have to look at the context. You have to look at the context to see if it's too much or too little. I actually did ask a copyright law attorney about this when I was in law school and studying copyright law. About like, is there a rule of thumb? Is there an amount, a percentage? It's not that simple. It's not that simple. It's not necessarily a matter of this percentage you can use and then nothing above that. That's not. There isn't like a bright line like that. But I was thinking. I've thought about this before. What I do, I think, falls squarely in fair use. I think that what I do fits all of the factors. I think all of the factors are in my favor. But I think at least most of the factors are in the favor of these publishers and these writers of these books. But they still got dinged. So I've thought about what would I do though if Hasbro decided that they're just gonna roll the dice and take a shot at what I do, and decide that is above or beyond the line, and they're gonna make the same sort of claims about what I do. What would I do in those circumstances? And I have thought about it, and I'll tell you what I'll do. I would fight that. I would fight it. I would fight it because somebody has to. I would fight that on behalf of everyone else who is involved in commentary and criticism, and who, like me, uses small portions of the material only as necessary to make the comment, to the criticism and the review, because somebody's got to. But I can tell you this. If I had to go to battle against Hasbro to just do fan stuff, to just do normal fan stuff, that would put a fairly bad taste in my mouth. And I'm not sure what that... I mean, there's no relationship between me and Hasbro right now, but my attitude toward them, I'm not sure how that would evolve under those circumstances. I can tell you one thing: I would never be able to review any new product again. Never. And not because I would hate them or suddenly hate the product. That's not the point. The point is that if I've had to go to battle against the maker of that property, then even though I know I could still be unbiased, even though I know I could still be fair in a review, it still creates the appearance of a bias. And it would be hard to shake that, because how can I be unbiased when I've had to fight these people just to be able to do stuff? So I mean, that's one consequence, is I'd never be able to review any current product ever again. I don't think this kind of litigation is helpful. This is something that Mattel used to be really known for. Well, I think they still are. Mattel has a history of being very litigious. Sometimes just really unreasonably so. Really going after people who were using works in ways that were clearly transformative, clearly, within their rights. But, the big companies and big firms want to push their weight around, and that Mattel has done that, allegedly, in my opinion. I don't think I don't think it is a wise choice for Hasbro to take that tactic. There is a lot of goodwill that can be lost with that tactic. And that is not to say they should not protect their intellectual property. They absolutely should. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about them, whether they should protect their intellectual property. We're talking about whether they should misuse their position to keep people from using the copyrighted material in a way that they have a right to. It's not a question of whether they should protect their property, but whether they should misuse their position in a way that would burn up a lot of goodwill, and I hope that they make the right choice. Because like I said, I can't give legal advice. I don't know the minute, small details of this project, or what kind of claim they would have. But from what from the little bit that I do know, it seems that the Command Files project has a stronger fair use argument than other projects that have already been done and have been successful and didn't have a problem. So if that's the standard now, then what is it safe to do? So anyway, I apologize. I ranted a little bit. I don't like to rant. But I've been thinking about this, and I had to talk about it. I had to get it out of my head. Once again, none of this constitutes any kind of legal advice. I am not anyone's lawyer. I am not involved. I am not, and I can't get directly involved anyway, because I don't have the licensure to take that case. So, but I hope that they will talk to somebody who can. Because this, I mean, it's a problem. It's a potential problem for a lot of us, and I don't want to see that problem grow into something that is a real issue in the community. I hope they handle it better. I really do. But I will leave with this. If I found myself in that position, I would raise legal funds, and I'm pretty confident that I could do that, and I would exercise every defense that is available to me, because what I think I do, and what I think again, I don't have the details. I don't have that book in front of me to see exactly how everything was used. In fact, I don't think it's done. So I couldn't. But based on the information that I have, it seems to me like what they are doing, they should be allowed to do. That it is not an infringement on anyone's property. So yeah, I don't have any antagonism against Hasbro. Hasbro has created some amazing things that I love. And they can't change that. They can't change how I feel about it. I also can't change the company that makes them. But they can't change how I feel about the cool things that I have been able to experience. But I feel like what I do is I feel like I know what I do is permissible under the law, that I'm careful about how I do it to make sure that I am using my rights the way they can be used, that I'm within my rights. And I really don't want to have any battles over this, but let's just hope it doesn't come to that. So I apologize. I know I left it on a downer, but my sympathies with the Command Files guys and the After Action Report guys. I hope that things work out for them, and I hope they are able to work those things out. And I sincerely hope that doesn't become a bigger issue. I truly and sincerely hope not. In the meantime, I will wrap up saying that I have 3 minutes, and then you got to go over to see what's on Joe Mind. 3 minutes. Okay. I'm working on the next video. It should be done. It should be done by Friday. It's really long. Why is it really long? Because this coming Sunday is the 9th anniversary of this channel. 9 years. And I wanted to do something a little special for it. And I did something. It's pretty special. Is it good? I don't know. I can tell you it's really long. I can tell you that I've spent now a lot of hours working on it and editing it. I can tell you that I'm really sick of hearing the sound of my own voice now. And I'm not near done. So actually, when I'm done, as soon as I get off here, I'm going to go back to editing. It's my only hope of having this done on time, but I'm working on it. I am working on it. It should be done. It should be done on time, hopefully. I'm going to do my best. But now is a good time to wrap it up. So scoot on over to What's on Joe Mind if you would like to see what they are doing. I think they are going to talk about the rumor mill as well. And yeah, we'll be back on next Tuesday, and I should have a video up on Sunday. So thank you everyone for watching. I will say good night, and I will see you next time. Good night, everyone. Bye. Bye.